today's episode, we chat with KGI's Director of Corporate Partnerships, Shannon Braun. Born in Everett, Washington, Shannon earned her undergraduate degree from Washington State University while studying finance, and then she received an MBA at the University of Montana. To start off, Shannon, can you share how you first became interested in coming to KGI?
So my interest in KGI purely had to do with location. This is career 2.0 for me. So as I was looking to come back into work after having my kids, I was looking for a place close to home, and I knew I liked working in a college environment, and we have this great city full of colleges here in Claremont, which is about 10 minutes away from where I live.
And you started off, obviously, in the admissions side of the house here at KGI. How was that a particular interest that pulled you in initially?
Well, some of my previous jobs in the .com biotech world had to do with going to different college campuses and recruiting student populations that had different degrees for hiring purposes. So we worked at kind of a headhunter in the Bay Area. So I was used to going to campuses and trying to encourage MBAs or those that had skills like writing Java or code to sign up for our service. So that's kind of where my skills fit with recruiting and admissions, because that's pretty much what I did when I first started, was go to college campuses and talk to students.
And I'm sure you've shared this plenty of times during your admissions stint, but what makes KGI unique?
KGI is unique for a lot of different reasons, but what really stood out to me was it seemed like an institution that was solving the need first. So what kind of skills are missing in the hiring, the student where someone wants to hire? What kind of skills are missing when a recruiter goes out to look for someone to hire? And then KGI comes in and just trains those skills, really specific to an industry. And that leads to great outcomes for our students. That was important for me because I was in the business of trying to talk a young professional into making an investment in their future. And I wanted to make sure that that investment was going to pay off for them.
And just recently, you transitioned into the new role, or your current role, Director of Corporate Partnerships. How does that also match, obviously, your skill set and what you're looking to do here at KGI?
My whole time at KGI has been relationship building and I guess customer service, really just trying to go out and meet people and figure out where the mutual benefits lie between who I'm talking to and KGI as an institution. And now I've switched my focus from talking to potential students to talking to the companies. And there's a great interest in them partnering with KGI. We have such an awesome talent pipeline for them. We are really preparing students for the exact skill set that's needed in the industry. And so it's pretty easy transition. I'm out there talking a lot about what KGI does and who our students are and how they are trained and how that can benefit the companies that I'm talking to.
And just before we hit record, we were talking about the Bio International Conference that you went to in Boston just recently. Can you share some of the memories and moments from that trip?
That conference was my first time there, and it was really fun. It was a huge conference, pretty much the who's who of anyone involved in making new therapies and biologics, and even device manufacturers in some cases, and contract manufacturers. So it was a good opportunity for me because I need to ramp on this side of my skill set. I'm used to, again, talking to students in colleges and professors about career building, but I'm not used to the ins and outs of the biotech and pharma industry. I was working in the .coms before this, and I have a finance background and a business background, not necessarily the bio background. So I did a lot of learning. I was really I appreciated the patience of the people in their booths that took the time to, explain their technologies. But I was also really encouraged by the future of therapies and where the science is going, and got really excited for the types of jobs that our students can do when they're done, because they're going to go work for some companies that are curing diseases and really solving some of our difficult issues that we face with our health, and it's a very rewarding space to work in. So it was a lot of fun.
You also mentioned being able to bump into some of the KGI alum. Can you share just a bit about how that network has grown, and obviously the relationships that you've built all the way from when they first became interested in KGI now to seeing them in the corporate side?
So I'm going on year number 9 here at KGI, and my first 8 years were spent recruiting students. And we were small at the time. We were still relatively small in college standards. And so I think we had maybe 60, 65 students at that time. And you really build a personal relationship. They're here for a couple years, but you see them grow so much, and we're first name basis all the way down to faculty up to our president, Shelley. And so you do make a connection with these students. And so watching them and staying linked in with them, professionally, and seeing where their careers go, and then randomly running into them in the hallway of this massive conference, which did happen to me in a few occasions out in bio, was really fun, because now I see them, not as students. I see them as really capable professionals out there, doing their thing. And it's a big industry, but it is still kind of small, and the network is really important. And now KGI's network has grown as every year our numbers of graduates has grown and grown and grown. But we still maintain this really close kind of family tie with each other. And it's easy to turn your head and see a KGI alum out there.
Well said. And you also did some traveling this spring with some team master's projects groups. Can you elaborate what the TMP is all about, and obviously the impact that you saw from those groups and their presentations?
So the Team Masters Project, or TMP, is the capstone experience for many of the students here at KGI. It's a 2-year consulting project that is done in cooperation with industry. In fact, industry sponsors these projects. And we do that because we really want them to be real important projects that would require a liaison from the company to be highly engaged with the team. And we also have a faculty member engaged with the team. So a team of 3 to 5 graduate students will work for 2 semesters, about 2,000 hours against a project. So in the spring, that's the time when the team will travel to the corporate headquarters and present the full findings. And when they do it in public here at KGI, they have to redact some information because of confidentiality. But at the corporate headquarters, oftentimes they have an audience of very high-level executives. And I got the opportunity to see maybe 7 or 8 of those this spring, which was, it was awesome. I loved it. I loved watching the students, step into what I would consider to be a really high stakes, probably nerve-wracking experience presenting in front of, in a couple of cases, there was a room full of 40 scientists, and our students were presenting their findings of what disease state they should go after next. And the whole audience probably has, a lot of ideas of which way the company should go. And, the students were up there doing a really great job. They spent 2 semesters coming down to these conclusions, and they really were confident in delivering. And then, to other, like a device company where the whole table was really engaged in what the students were presenting and asking questions. And you can tell, it kind of was confirming some things they had already thought, but now they had this bigger data set to go back and fight with their internal, like, this is, we knew, and look what the student team came back with. And so it's an awesome experience. It's great for our students. I think it's great for the companies because they get the opportunity to work on projects that they don't necessarily have the time to work on at the moment. They get an extra set of like 10 hands, I guess, to get things done. And they also get the opportunity to sort of get this, again, pipeline of talent, someone who now has spent 2 semesters really working on a real problem that company is facing, and that could be the next, employee that they're ready to hire at the end. So it's a win-win.
And as we wind down, what is something you're involved with outside of KGI that may surprise people, whether that's a hobby, activity, other organization?
Yeah, well, I'm really super involved with the JDRF, which is a Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. My son is a type 1 diabetic, and he's been diabetic since he was 2. He's now 14. And I feel like just being involved with a great organization like JDRF keeps me positive, because I get to see, all the good work that's put towards trying to cure this disease or make life better for type 1s. And both my son and I'm the advocacy team chair for the Orange County chapter here. And both my son and I have been to Washington, D.C. on a couple occasions, just trying our best to advocate for money for the NIH and for funding for technologies. And so although it's, something I do on a volunteer basis, it's definitely, a passion that it's easy to spend my time that way because I feel like I'm making a positive impact. So
that's great to hear. And to continue on that just for a moment, could you ever imagine being at a place like KGI, knowing obviously your passion and your volunteerism through that organization?
I think KGI is the perfect place for me. Even when I was at the bio conference, of course, there are a lot of these companies that are working on type 1 diabetes. This is the industry that's going to solve this moving forward. So, I have my KGI hat on, but I had my mom hat on too. And I was like, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? And write down my notes. And so I kind of feel like it's this really great mix of, and again, just back to the fact that I'm a mom, I can't help but feel a little bit maternal over our students, and wanting them to go on and succeed. And I really get the opportunity to kind of see that happen on a regular basis. I get to see the science moving forward. I'm invested in, at least one disease state, but can also empathize with any other family member that has all these other diseases that are waiting for cures. And just hearing things that are happening out there, it's encouraging and it's exciting. It's a great place to be, education and technology moving forward, and I can't see myself anywhere else.
That's a wonderful way to close out, and obviously, certainly me personally and all across campus have witnessed the collaboration that you've made and developed through your time, both with admissions and now with corporate partnerships. So we're excited to see what develops in that area, but thanks again, Shannon, for taking the time and talking with us.